Good. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for being here on kind of a vertical day, but it looks nice out now. Welcome to the NB and EDC meeting, Monday, July 29th. And here we are. So we're going to call the meeting to order before I establish a quorum. First of all, let me welcome two new members, or more, from the select board. Welcome. And then Mike Mizzarelli, who is from the COMCOM. Hi, Mike. Good. All right, so with that in mind, let's establish that we do have a quorum available at this point. We'll do that by roll call vote. Matt Roll.
Aye. Here.
Thank you. John Kitchener.
Aye. Here.
Christina Jelmy.
Here.
Brooke Moore.
I'm here.
Dave Iverson. Here. Joe Totten.
Here.
Let's see, Bert Johnson.
Here.
Mike Mizzarelli.
Here.
Wendy Hudson.
Here.
Abby DiMolina.
Here.
Thank you.
You want to invite Abby to the board?
Oh, I thought you did that at the last meeting. I'm so sorry. Did we not do that?
I think we did.
We did not. No, Abby, I'm so sorry. Welcome on board in terms of getting. Yes, so glad to have you here. So let's go through, and the chair is here. Let's say Barry right here, and let's go through staffing positions at this point. Mike Burns.
I'm here.
Good. Megan Trudell.
Here.
Leslie Woodson Snell.
Here.
And let's see, Raisa Kwame there as well too. Somewhere in the mix. Great. Did I miss anyone, Megan, or?
No, I think Barbara's having a hard time logging in. We're trying to get her situated as well.
I'm sorry, Barbara.
Barbara Lechitz from Mass UAB.
Oh, okay. You want me to wait a second while you try to do that, or let's move on? Okay. So you have an agenda before you at this point, and I would love a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Thank you. So let's do a roll call vote again. I'll have this memorized by the end of the night. Matt Wall.
Okay.
John Kitchener.
Aye.
Christina Jelmy.
Aye.
Brooke Moore.
Aye.
Dave Iverson.
Aye.
Joe Totten.
Aye.
Bert Johnson.
Aye.
Abby DiMolina.
Aye.
Mike Mizzarelli.
Aye.
Wendy Hudson.
Aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative as well too. We need to wait a second while you reestablish co-host.
Oh, just in it. Yep, I think so.
Thank you. So agenda thus approved. Is there any public comment for items not on the agenda?
Hi, guys, hoping to make public comment.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Hillary, get this ready for it. So I have two public comments. The first one is regarding the citizen petition for the enabling legislation. I know it's on your agenda. So I was also kindly invited to a meeting on August 5th.
Correct.
About this, and then I saw that it was on the agenda for today. Unfortunately, I had a prior commitment. I can't stay for the discussion today, but I just wanted to come to express my interest in continuing the discussion and coming to the meeting on August 5th. And if you needed if there was any comment or any question that I could answer that would inform your discussion, I wanted to be available. Or I can just come on the 5th and I'll listen to the recording, but
that actually is on our agenda, as you said, and that will actually be part of the content of the August.
Okay.
And you have something else?
Yeah, so I'll listen to the recording and I'll come on the 5th. And the other thing I was hoping that you all could discuss is what this commission as a regional planning commission could contribute to the discussion about the wind farms. With the right of appointment to the Ocean Advisory Committee. And the ability to advocate regionally and directly to the governor. I just think it's something that should be on the agenda. It should be talked about because it's a big reward that hasn't been discussed for a long time. That's my other one.
Yeah, I do remember you had brought this up before, and we actually do have a member, and that would be Leslie. This is the staff member. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about the ocean plan.
No,
but I think we'll just say thank you for sharing that. And, Brooke is here as well too. And I know they've taken a very proactive and immediate role in dealing with this, so. And I'm sure if they need anything from us, they will reach out as well.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay, so minutes from June 24. Any errors, omissions, changes that need to take place? If none, I'll take a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve. Second.
Yeah, all right. And if there's no discussion on that, we'll approve those by roll call vote. Nat Wolf.
Aye.
John Kitchener. Aye. Christina Gell.
Aye.
Brooke Moore.
I'll abstain because I was.
You'll abstain, okay. Dave Iverson.
Aye.
Joe Totten. Bert Johnson.
Aye.
Abby Molina.
Aye.
Okay, Mike Mizzarelli.
Abstain since I wasn't at those meetings.
Okay, and Wendy Hudson.
Okay.
And even though I wasn't there, I still read the minutes and I'll vote in the affirmative as well too. So those minutes are approved. Just as a note, just because you weren't here for a meeting, if you do read through those minutes and it makes sense to you and there's nothing unusual or weird about it, you still have a perfect right to be able to vote on it. So I appreciate
Point
I
taken.
appreciate your position no matter what.
Thank you, Barry.
Great, thanks. So let's move on at this point. Mike, I'm going to cue you up because there's three things that we're going to deal with. So the first thing is going to be the NRTA Fare Free Impact on Ridership. You're up, sir.
Myself, and I don't know if I see Gary Roberts in the queue at all here, but I can go ahead and run through the slides.
Mike, do you want to wait a minute?
He's
And-
on as an attendee. Is he to be promoted?
Please, if you would.
Yep.
Hold on for a second, Mike. He's here.
Sure. Oh, okay, good. Awesome. So I see he's on the call, and after I run through the slides, yeah, Gary can be available for any questions the commissioners may have. So the first item is to talk about the fare free service impacts. Provided some graphs in the packet for the commission to review, and just to give a little bit of history. The system started in 1995 with just under 150,000 riders. The system has obviously grown since that time and can get riderships on an annual basis close to 300,000. The Wave rebranding started in 2011, had a slight impact on ridership, went up a little bit. Year-round service started in 2018, had a little bit of a bump, and then obviously in 2020, COVID hit, and that was just like everything else. Ridership went down, just like airfare and ferry service as well. So this year to date, at least as of July 2019, you see the ridership there for the free service. Just to drill down a little bit more about what the 2024 ridership has been, Gary's provided some data on ridership for April, May, June, and July. Huge increases for each month. And you can see at the bottom, the very, very bottom, it says April through July, but the graph shows May, June, and July for ridership from 2013 to 2024. Again, you see that drastic dip in 2020. But drilling down even more on the two most popular routes, the Mid-Island and the Mayacamet loops, those typically about 40,000 riders through this time of year, and through the July of this year, you can see that that's almost 70,000. So significant increases in ridership due to the fare free service. The additional 30,000 trips that the NRTA carried greatly reduced delays along the roadway, provided more available parking spaces in the downtown area. The efficient boardings, because there's no payment processing going on, so that increases traffic flow and headways. Riders saved money on fares, gas, and potential parking fines. They also had more of a stress-free experience from fighting congestion and looking for parking spaces. And Mr. Chair, these all these initiatives align with 4 of the 5 goals for transportation for the region, and that improved accessibility, affordability, reliability, and sensitivity to the islands. Gary can really touch on any of the questions you might have about the success of the operation so far this year, if there are any.
Anyone have any questions, or comments? Yeah,
I just have one question. In the survey that I read, they asked if there were statistics behind these, or were there numbers? Was there any data-driven numbers to prove these improvements, or are they just observations?
The improvements being congestion, delays, and parking availability?
Exactly, like these things here that you have listed as improvements.
Sure. Just by virtue of the trip being made by transit and not by an automobile or some other mode, 30,000 of those trips. We don't have it quantified to minutes of delay that's being improved, just by the virtue of the trip being done by bus and that being the more efficient movement of people.
Okay, thank you.
Therefore, there was no increased demand for public parking. There was no demand for parking by that trip. So.
anyone else?
Yeah, Mike, Bert, how many people do those new electric buses hold?
Gary, you want to field that one? I could make a guess, but I think you know the more specifics.
Yeah, the smaller electric buses carry 16 passengers, and what we did was we added a third vehicle on each route from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to handle the overflow of passengers. So the headways are down to 10 minutes and 15 minutes on each route that they run on.
Are we able to find electric buses that have any larger capacity than that would fit in with our system?
Currently, the problem that we're facing trying to use some federal funds that we have is there's really down to 2 bus manufacturers that make full-size buses, electric powered, after the third major one went out of business. And they're only built in 35 and 40-foot lengths right now. So we need to stay somewhere in the 29-foot range. There's some options that they're going through Altoona testing right now that they're looking at that would be in the range of 24 passengers per vehicle. And we can only go so large, and the benefit of the bus goes away. If we, most of them are 102 inches wide. The ones we're running right now are 96 inches wide. And if we get up to a 35-foot bus, they wouldn't fit down the roads that we need them to go down.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions?
Barry,
Yes,
I'll
Mike,
just-
please.
I'll just make a comment. My granddaughter commented to me, she's 10, the other day, that the new buses don't have a lot of seats. And I explained to her that they added an extra bus so you didn't have to wait as long. And she said, well, that makes sense.
There we go. Anyone else wishing to comment on this? All right, thank you, gentlemen. We're gonna move on from here. Really good. So Mike, that's gonna bring us to the FFY 24-28 Transportation Improvement Program. 2 items there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for amendment number 4 to the TIP, as was approved for the fiscal year 2024. There was $618,620 for operating costs. That's being modified to add about 1.2 million in additional operating costs. The TIP amendment was authorized last month by the NPDC. We did receive much more responses than we have in recent amendments and UPWP public review periods. We did get 31 positive responses, almost an 80-20 split on the support. on that. The concerns that were communicated, and there is a description of public comments that were received, but the descriptions of comments, the concerns that we got was that the NRTA did not need to increase operating, didn't need to increase services or add money for operations. Bus riders should be paying for the service rather than having the free bus, and that the some users had a bad experience on previous trips. So, Mr. Chair, based on the about one month exactly of public review, sorry about the dates, it says 22 instead of the 29 for our meeting, but based on the public review period that was advertised the 29th, staff recommends that the NPC approve amendment number 4 to the FFY 2024 Transportation Improvement Program.
All right, and so we've actually got 2 actions we're going to do at this point. The first thing is to close the public review period. And I'll move. Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion. Here none. Roll call vote. Matt.
Aye.
Help you if I go to first news.
No.
John. Aye. Christina.
Aye.
Brooke.
Aye.
Dave. Aye. Joe. Aye. Bert.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Wendy.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well too. So now we're going to, if you're so inclined, we need to dispose of amendment number 4. And if you want to make a motion, it's up to you guys. But I think Mike is asking for
Approval.
To approve it.
I'll make that motion.
And motion's now made and seconded at this point. Discussion on that issue. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Nat.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Christina.
Aye.
Aye.
Dave. John.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Jesus. Aye. There you go. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying. Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to free fly this, and that's okay. I get stuck a few times here, and I'll apologize in advance. Bert.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
Wendy.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. That's taken care of and disposed of. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to ask Mike to pull this together for us. We're going to look at some of the accomplishments that have taken place in terms of long range planning for transportation plans and such over the course of the past year. I'd probably like to suggest we start doing this at every annual meeting. I mean, we're very quick to have to acknowledge when we don't do right out there. We certainly do get to know about that. But when it comes to what we've accomplished over a period of time, they're very piecemeal. It comes along, we acknowledge it, and it's just like, okay, it's another thing. I think having a yearly summary isn't such a bad thing after all, because once you start understanding what it is that you've done in that year's worth of time, all of a sudden it's not these little things, it's sizable. And so I thought that might be kind of a fun and good thing to do for us, and get that out into the public venue as well. And so I'd also like to probably say too, that really maybe is something you should consider for your annual meetings from here on in, to be able to do that. I don't think we do it often enough. So with that in mind, Mike, I'm going to cue you up. Thank you for doing this, by the way.
No, Mr. Chairman, I think this is actually healthy for long-range planning, and it's good to kind of talk about what we've done over the last year, but also align those with our priorities for our planning. And I will say one of the more fun things that I did this year was work on the Brain Bucket Nantucket sticker, and share those with our governor, U.S. representative, and U.S. senator. So that was kind of one of the fun projects that got to do this last year. But what we've also done is triple the participation for our updating of the long range transportation plan. That was, as you might have recall, that was approved back in August with a set of goals and priorities. The document itself was made much more succinct and user friendly. We're just happy that through our communications platform that we tripled participation during this updating process. We also, as you just saw, ran a bike safety campaign and to spread the understanding of the classification system of e-bikes and to encourage wearing helmets when riding a bicycle. We've also used money appropriated by town meeting to install an array of permanent traffic counters to collect traffic data, speeds, and classification of vehicles at 6 locations, 24/7, 365. So we can see how traffic fluctuates throughout the year and perhaps do a better job of understanding our seasonal fluctuation and growth along the roadways. We're still in the process of developing our comprehensive safety action plan. We just did a variety of site visits of high crash locations last week with our consulting team and with other town staff, other public safety staff, and from town administration and DPW. And Mr. Chairman, we have Mass DOT did authorize the initiation of design for Milestone Rotary, the Milestone at Nobadeer Farm Road intersection, and the widening of Milestone Road from the Rotary to New South Road, Bunker Road, which is an incredible investment from the state. And we're happy that those got initiated this past year. I thought it'd be healthy to, as I mentioned earlier, to align our accomplishments with what our goals and priorities are for accessibility. Staff still does have an ongoing evaluation of the Pleasant, Williams, and Sparks Avenue corridors. That's in line with our complete streets policy to ensure accommodation of all roadway users. There's also 2 projects being submitted for capital requests this year, the Pleasant Street project and the Tom Nevers path. As far as expanding the multimodal network, the Milestone path along the north side of Milestone Road from Pulpus Road to Monomoy Road, that was advertised in June. That bid will close at the end of the summer, and the community has approved funding for the Newtown Road path. As far as parking management, staff did provide a summary of 2023 citations and parking management decision points to the select board. However, that, as noted in red, not necessarily an accomplishment, but something that still needs to be done is initiation of a parking management system, which aligns with the select board's strategic goal. As far as natural and cultural resources being evaluated as part of project selection, we do need to do a better job of updating our scoring system. That has not been done. However, there has been the ongoing electrification of the NRTA, which reduces greenhouse gas emissions, and there's been coordination with statewide staff and with local staff for resiliency and reliability initiatives in the downtown area. As far as affordability for Nantucket residents between the mainland, travel between the mainland, the Steamship Authority did freeze fares for residents this past year, as well as keep parking rates unchanged. And that was based on the updating of our long-range transportation plan and sharing our survey results that we collected with the Steamship Authority to see how that was so important to kind of keep things affordable. As far as reducing reliance on the automobile, there is there's a 3-pronged approach. You need a land use policy to make sure that the places where we live, work, and play are within proximity, but there also needs to be expansion of the options, as well as some disincentives. As far as the disincentives, the parking management plan has not been updated yet. Trends are typically going in the wrong directions as far as daily miles traveled on island by Nantucket registered vehicles, and we can do an evaluation of growth that's been happening on the islands and ensure that that has been aligned with the town and country pattern of development, which was a goal, and we can verify that as part of the master plan updating. The free fares initiative has been implemented. We just did a presentation on that, and the provisions of affordable or remote parking in the downtown or in the vicinity of the airport. Those are initiatives that still need some work. But as far as improving safety, we do have the ongoing safety action plan that's being developed. It'll be completed by next summer. Utilizing a safe system approach, we do have the Milestone Road speed feedback sign to include that the vehicles are being operated at safe speeds. Again, we did the bike safety campaign, and we do have a more efficient way of taking public comments in for traffic safety and parking related concerns through the See Click Fix app with DPW. That's something that's live right now. and improving reliability of our system overall. Some things that need some discussion going forward over the next year. Do we still want to regulate the number of vehicles? We have an opinion from town council that a hard cap is not possible. Do we want to update the optimal carrying capacity study? Staff has been tracking that this last year to see what the on-island vehicle population has been, and it has been trending in the wrong direction. We've kind of hit that carrying capacity cap that was noted in the 2001 study. Developing a travel forecasting model. We do have the data collection deployed with the 6 new permanent counters. I've had ongoing coordination with town administration staff and with other regions, as well as my previous some colleagues that I worked with previously to help guide and refine the scope of work that we would have for the travel demand model. So that's still ongoing. And as far as guaranteed access with the Steamship Authority, the standby system is still the best thing that's available for guaranteeing access on the steamship, but reliability at priority intersections. Again, Mass DOT is reconstructing the Milestone Rotary and the Nobody Farm Road and Milestone Road intersection, reconstruction of the Pulpus and Milestone Road. That's something that'll start this next year. So there have been other intersections that are being addressed that are congestion problems. And with all that said, Mr. Chair, that's the summary of the accomplishments as well as the accomplishments as they align with your priorities. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anyone have any comments? Yeah, go ahead, Brooke.
Timeline for Milestone Rotary and Milestone at Nobody? Any?
The notice to proceed, I believe, should be issued soon. And as soon as we have that, I believe there's a kickoff meeting with the consultants at the end of the summer where they need to provide a project schedule to share with everyone. I will note that there's a lot of early coordination with, say, the Historical Commission and other town staff, just as those projects get started to make sure that any issues can be identified at the early stages before design progresses too much. As far as a groundbreaking construction, it's really way too early to suggest a construction schedule just yet. I think we need to get through all the initial design, understanding what any permitting obstacles may be, and if there's just ensuring that there still is local support for those projects.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Go ahead. No, John, go ahead.
On the carrying capacity, I mean, 2001, but that might have been the last formal one, I don't know. But has there been any formal or informal stabs at what carrying capacity might be since 2001, or is that's it? Is that the last time we looked at it?
Yeah, that was the last time. That's why the priority, at least as of August of last year, when NPC approved this, updating that study was a priority. So that 2001 was the last information that we really have. I've been tracking that every year since then, just to see how the numbers have changed. But beyond that, really haven't changed the methods or anything like that. Don't need type of more refined evaluation.
Thank you.
So Mike, I didn't see anything up there about the little extension thing for the Behind Island Lumber from Monomoy and that intersection. Is that in the queue with the state as well? Is that part of the widening process thing? Because they're going to make that little sort of not turning, but like that little passing thing. So is that going to be all part of the same project, or is that separate?
I assume you're talking about the bike path on the north side of Milestone Road. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
That's part of the Milestone at Pulpus intersection project, which was advertised in June, and it should be under construction this fall. So that's probably.
So that's coming like soon.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. I just wanted to circle back a little bit on that because it's not on the list. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to talk about this stuff, Mike, but you're back now. You know what I mean? Like Mike Burns is back, on the meetings. Like we're kind of like, I feel a sense of normalcy has returned since COVID, since Patrick, since the big gap of getting things done or in the queue the right way. It is complicated, and I appreciate this list, and I think Barry's right. I think we should have some kind of way to talk about that. One of the things that wasn't mentioned is the money for the steamship gallows replacement, Mike. That was just before you came back, I think. That got approved somehow. But there's some funding for that through the tip. But anyway, what about like we used to do with DPW, like crossover stuff? This is part of the confusion with the public. Like we got Drew now in place. Drew is going to be great. Things that cross over between sort of commission stuff that's really not DPW, it is very confusing for the public to know who does what. Where does this, what causes this to get done, that to get done, that not to get done? Road improvements with Chapter 90 money for safety. We got the electric bike issue. You know, there's a lot of things sort of in flux here that instead of just paving a road just because it needs paving, and now we haven't done anything to really actually improve the road any more than what it was when it was originally done. That type of stuff. I think we should be talking about that with our joint meetings with the select board, having Drew come on to one of our meetings here and kind of try to restart some of the things that we were doing. I don't like to say before, but I think you know what era I'm talking about, like 2018, 2019, 2020, and then it sort of died with COVID and changes and things like that. So that's my general statement. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to say it in a way that sort of brings it back to life in a post-COVID. We have really good people in place now with Drew here. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I have a great relationship working with Drew and the entire public works staff and with other departments as well. And you're right. There was a little bit of COVID probably affected everybody, so everything slowed down all over the place. But I will say things can get restarted, but there's a lot of projects that were already in the hopper that are happening right now. And I think a lot of the point of this is that not everything can be done in 1 year. But it's important to celebrate what you can get done in 1 year. Like I said, the milestone improvements, there's not just one of them, there's a variety of them. And it's great to rebuild the relationship with the state, to have them reinvest in that. But there's lots of local projects as well that are advancing. Pleasant Street, Newtown Road, the Surfside area roads. There's really a lot of things happening. Just happen to note a lot of those is part of the success.
And also bring in BPAC's recommendations into that conversation with their discussions on the e-bikes. You're going to be seeing stuff about that come back around after the summer. Trying to accommodate e-bikes without.
Yeah, we're getting a little off.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah, I want to focus this back in on
Okay.
what we're at, but I hear what you're saying, and maybe the best thing to do is
Trying to like make it look like we want to try to fix something, because that's all you hear about is complaints about this stuff.
Right.
So that's why it's really hard to get a handle on it, you know, so.
And I think it's worthy of discussing it, but I think we actually need to sit down and chat about it a little bit first, formulate what is going on out there, because as Mike said, you know, the focus of this really was to look at what did we do over the course of past years worth of time. And I agree with this comment that you keep this a lot going on. So you have to really kind of be very careful about what you can pick and choose about what to do and where your successes are when you do that. So it's too easy to dwell on all the other stuff. And the intent here was really to kind of just go back through and review what we have really done. As for the other stuff, I really trust in staff in terms of making sure that those things are ongoing, and we can certainly target that as another agenda item into the future.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate it. No, thank you.
All good.
Mr. Chair, through you to Mike. Mike, the carrying capacity, does that
break down, or can you break this down to like personal vehicles, work vans, trucks, etc., then heavy equipment, dump trucks, etc. Kind of, is that useful, or is that just doesn't matter? Because I feel like in April, if you go on Elsoff Road, the traffic is, you know, almost all the way down to, you know, Love's Lane. So I was just curious if some of that data could be mined out or broken out in that carrying capacity, if that's possible.
We definitely have class of vehicles through the array of traffic counters that we have out now. So we can look at that. I think the point is not, you know, I don't think an intersection really cares if it's a commuter or a work vehicle or what the vehicle is and what the purpose is. It's just if it's congested and can't operate what it's designed to, then that's kind of an issue. And you start seeing failing intersections that once you get the volume gets at a certain level. So the point of sharing this and making the note that the 2001 carry capacity was reached last summer, but up to that point, whatever that initial optimal carry capacity study proposed as the limit, and was like 29,000 vehicles as the vehicle population, something like this. We had never hit that point, but now, especially since coming back, and getting reacquainted with the island and the community, I did hear that there was a lot of like concern about, you know, that island just felt like there were a lot of failing intersections, and congestion was like the #1 issue. When we surveyed the community last summer, congestion was the #1 issue. And you start putting numbers to that. Well, you know, that's the best thing that we have to date, is this, you know, 2001 study that was an indicator that once you get to a certain level, then you start to get gridlock. And we hit that last year, and we're very well, we'll be there again this summer. It's not just the population of vehicles on island, it's their usage. So we track that as well. And the data that we get from the registry of motor vehicles shows that vehicles that are registered on Nantucket are being just used more often each year. So the usage is going up, the number is going up. Perhaps there's other modeling that we can do. That's why the traffic demand modeling is kind of here. There's other ways to kind of quantify the problem. But you know, as far as other indicators and stuff, I think that's why you feel that we're hearing a lot from the community that congestion is such a concern and the system's stressed, because it's the numbers just that.
I totally agree. Like when an intersection fails, but I just was curious of that, how that was broken out, and I just was wondering if that was available. So, well,
if there's more interest in understanding that, I can dive into more of the registry of motor vehicles data and share that at a future meeting, because it is interesting to see how those numbers have changed over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can definitely follow up on that and dig a little bit deeper.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just it would be interesting to me to know like registrations of commercial vehicles versus passenger vehicles alone, just the, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's a lot of narratives around who's behind the wheel and for what purpose.
Yeah, there's a lot of pointing butts going back and forth.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all returning back to us. Me, myself, and I.
Mhm.
So.
Anyone else? All right, Mike,
Mr.
thank you.
Mr. Chair, if there's no other questions from the group, if it's okay, because this will be her last meeting, I just want to recognize Risa Kwame, who this is her last meeting. I think her last day at Mass DOT is Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So I just want to thank her for she's such a valuable asset. And I wish her the best of luck in her next chapter, and wanted to share that with you all, because I know y'all have had more experience with it than I have, but I've definitely appreciate all her help over the last year.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for all your insight, and I've learned so much, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Good luck in your next venture. Okay.
Thank
Perfect.
you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on. So we have a request from Leslie to do a vacation carryover at this point. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, unless you have anything you want to add, or if there's any questions from the commission. If not, then it's going to be, we do have to either affirm or deny that request through a motion. What's the pleasure of the board? What would you like to do, or do you need further discussion on the issue?
I'm not really sure if it's carrying over a week from this year to next year or something. What are we doing? Not that it matters, but
It's carrying over 137.5 hours, which I would love to use, but this year with, had a lot going on, we've had a lot of important things to deal with, and I just haven't been able to use it, but my contract says that you all can approve it for 2 years.
motion to approve the request.
Second,
Motion's made and seconded. Is there discussion on the issue or further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, we'll do a roll call vote at this point. Joe?
Mixing it up.
I just want to see if you guys are paying attention at this point.
Right here.
What just happened?
No, it's not.
Say aye.
Yes, no.
Yeah, what's that?
Brooke,
Aye.
Christina,
Hi.
John,
aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Wendy,
Hi.
and the chair votes aye as well too. It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. Enabling legislation. So. It's been a little while since we touched it. I will be upfront with you right now that I was really hoping to get this accomplished at our last meeting. Sadly, the universe decreed that other things should happen to me at this point and kind of waylaid me in the process. We are so close to being able to get to the first, be able to bring closure to the first iteration of this, which I think is very important. We've been working on this long enough. We are going to have a work group, a workshop session next week, which means we can certainly revisit things.
Yeah.
But I think in all fairness to the public, we need to discuss the balance of items that are on here and at least make a good valid attempt to close it out. So that we have a document before us that is the first real draft of what this thing is supposed to look like. So I hope you're all good with that. There's a few items which I had Leslie draft out first. You should have a memo from July 26th. From Leslie, it says NPNEDC legislation update in progress, and it goes on further to start with below items need additional discussion. I do understand that in the last meeting, which I didn't get a chance to review, you actually started to discuss some of these issues, which is good, But anyways, I'd like to at least start with the membership. And then we can get into the length of the term, maximum term limits, transition, and then the most fun part is actually the name. Now, that's the order I'd like to proceed in. If you're not quite ready for it, we could go certainly to the name, which would be the easiest, strangely thing to do. But with your permission, I'm going to try this one way, and if it doesn't quite work out, then what I'm probably going to do is turn to each one of you individually, and I'll give you up to 3 minutes to be able to make your comments and close out this section. Let me try it in the more general way first. When we've done that in the past, we've kind of gotten really stuck and didn't make too much progress. So I want to be able to change how we're going to articulate that information. So on the membership, there's one thing we definitely need to clarify here, which is the arts and culture. We had 2 possible appointment agencies, which was either the Cultural Council or the Arts Association. If we read through some of the information from staff and heard what they had to say, they suggested the Cultural Council because it is a town committee. So if you're all good with that, do you want to follow the recommendation from staff that that should be the council who makes their appointments?
How many people are on that? You don't mind me asking, and how are they appointed? Or, do you know?
Don't recall, but I'll look it up. real quick.
It's not the end of the world. I'm just,
They're appointed by the select board.
Yeah,
figured.
but they'll be actually doing the appointment to us. Right?
So I just wanted to add, I was the one who spoke with them initially and to gauge their interest. I attended their meeting and didn't, provide any confirmed process forward, but just wanted to gauge if it was something they'd be interested in, and they were absolutely thrilled.
Wow.
And that's
to be
great.
Part of this process, so they couldn't wait to hear more information, and they were absolutely interested. So I don't think I ever had a chance to share that with you all.
So
Good
if
news.
any of you are here by Zoom, you're gonna have to yell real loud, say, Mr. Chair, if you want to be heard. But otherwise, I'm going to consider that we're going to do the cultural council with this and move on to the next thing. Okay.
I would
I'm
check that
getting
box.
a lot of head nods at this point. Well, trust me, we'll bring closure to this by getting official motion on a lot of this, on this stuff. So the business section, social services, housing, you have your appointing authorities for those. Which one?
Housing.
Housing, you have 3 minutes.
So I know I'm late to the party,
Yes, that's okay.
and you've probably had the debate about how, I know Housing Authority.
State,
Let her finish. Please.
okay,
Go ahead.
sorry.
I understand that, but in terms of a breadth of knowledge of housing on Nantucket, the Affordable Housing Trust has a much broader knowledge of what's going on. The Housing Authority has a very limited scope of responsibility with regard to housing. They do have a representative on the Affordable Housing Trust, but having been in the housing game nearly a decade now, I would advise strongly that it be the Affordable Housing Trust. And I know that there was some concern when the citizen petition was put forth from the Housing Authority, but I don't know what you guys have done on that or what conversations you had, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I will say that in staff and certainly as well too. We really did vet the number of different agencies that were out there, and this is the one that was suggested by the commission at that time. So.
And
go ahead.
I do recall a discussion about not selecting the housing trust because the housing trust has an appointee from the commission on their board.
Yeah.
And that
So
was
there's
something
already
that-
a link.
Yeah, okay.
We move on.
I think we should hear from Dave on this.
I mean, I agree with Brooke. I get that we have a link. But this is the planning commission, and just the intimate knowledge that an affordable trust member has about the properties owned, how many units could be going here or there is very important in the overall planning picture. And I think we would lose that if we didn't have that represented here on the board.
But they're not.
As
Okay.
a appointee, but I think that I'm not clear how that picture works. I just feel that the affordable housing has more intimate local knowledge, and that's what we want on this board.
Yeah.
And that's where, okay. So I'm gonna go back to where I was gonna try to bring this thing to begin with, which was you're all gonna have an individual say. Okay, this will be a little bit longer in terms of doing it, but if we're gonna start changing things here again. I think it's instead of having a free form philosophy about things, I'm gonna give you a moment to articulate what you want, why you think, and then we're gonna vote on it. So I've heard from Dave, I've heard from Brooke at this point.
No, Matt wanted to.
Matt, go ahead.
Well, we talked about, at the beginning of all this, we talked about having, it could be coming from both. Right? Like if somebody from Housing Authority doesn't want to be on and somebody from the trust. I'm not saying that should happen. I'm just saying that's how this conversation started, as I recall. The connection to the state agency part is just that traditional, goes back to 1973, housing authorities created by the state, like the planning commission, like the land bank. So it's sort of a, kind of already there. I do agree that the membership person is almost like having a member, but it's not a vote. It's not adding a person to the list of the 13. So, but I don't think we should remove the housing authority though. This is where I'm stuck in this thing. I'm gonna ask the worst question of the night. Does anybody think we should go to 14 and add the housing trust?
Let's not go there.
Yeah, I see. It's the worst question of the night. That's why I said it.
This is, okay.
So then we have to decide if the membership of the commission is equivalent to having whoever that person would be. Who would that be, Dave? Because you're very knowledgeable. I'm not knowledgeable enough on this. It would be somebody from the housing trust itself.
All right.
Right?
I don't want this dialogue to be ranging back and forth, because this is where all of a sudden we get bogged down to this. You've had more than adequate time under which, I'm just going to say up front, I think we've all had adequate time under which to do this. Okay, you've had months to review this. I'm sorry things didn't move under previous administration at a much more rapid rate. We should close this out.
I agree. I'm not arguing.
So, no, and I'm not looking at you. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of focusing into that direction, because nothing against you. So, but, I really want us to kind of get to what is it that you want as the core of this thing, in terms of doing it. So Nat, just tell me what you want.
Well,
Which one?
I think we should keep the housing authority.
Okay, thank you.
But I think that strengthening the representation of the local housing initiatives is huge. And maybe there's a way we can do that through the membership process. Some other way.
Okay.
Okay.
And here we go. If we start entering into this fray, we're probably going to be here another 6 months to a year batting this thing around.
Well,
if you're going to increase the membership.
No, I didn't say that. No.
Okay, I'm just saying, if you were going to increase the membership, you're going to increase it by 2, not just 1.
Well, we used to have 12, but I hear you.
But that doesn't.
Or has been
Okay.
increased.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to get to him in a second. I'm going to go around the table. John?
I was a new person, but so I'd like to cede my 1 minute and ask Brooke, knowing her experiences, if you could use my minute to tell me why you feel the housing authority should be replaced by the affordable housing.
My greatest concern is the housing authority has a history of housing development on Nantucket, but it is a history. Prospective solutions to our housing crisis are happening at the Affordable Housing Trust, both in terms of land acquisition development and, more importantly, new programming, deed restriction program, coordination with planning on zoning changes. That is all happening at the Affordable Housing Trust. It is not happening at the Housing Authority in any way, shape, or form, other than they have one rep on the Housing Trust. So I respect the work that's been done at the Housing Authority. The future's at the Housing Trust.
May I speak at some point, Barry?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going around the table at this point, so I promise I'll get to you. You will not be excluded, sir. Everyone's going to have a moment.
Thank you, Barry. I'm done.
You're welcome. So do you have a decision?
Yes.
Kind of venue to
Housing authority, affordable housing.
affordable housing. Okay, thanks. Christine?
So just point of clarification, we're not actually voting, you're just kind of getting a tally of where everybody
I'm
stands.
trying to get a sense of where we're going with it, because you're gonna be asked to make a decision tonight.
Okay.
On this.
For a draft, though.
This is going to be
For
so
the-
that
the
it's
workshop.
pretty. Unless you want to keep infinitely approaching this thing. It's kind of time to saddle up to the bar here and move this ahead. Otherwise, like I said, I'm afraid we're gonna get lost in that infinite quagmire.
You're right, Barry.
You know, and that's all. This is an attempt to bring it together. You know, the work group may influence you. It doesn't mean we can't pick it. And I think you also have to understand too, that even when this is said and done, doesn't mean you can't come and revisit this in the future. It's meant to be another document that is changeable over time. So I think you need to keep that in mind too. It's not a one and done thing here. But, you know, again, I'm trying to go back to, I think we've almost been at this now for 2 years. And so, I'm just trying to get a straw sense of things. So thank you. Does that help a little bit? I'm sorry.
Yes, so I defer to the people who are intimately involved. I'm not familiar with all the different organizations. So if you are looking for a recommendation from me, I would defer to Brooke and Dave, who both say that the Affordable Housing Trust would be the better choice.
Got it.
I always thought it was gonna be the Affordable Housing Trust, but then that was kind of outvoted, but so I still in favor of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Bert, you've been very patient. Thank you.
Well, I think, Brooke, you need to look into Housing Nantucket. That was an organization that was started 20 or more years ago by the Housing Authority, because to get free of state regulation and whatnot, they have put together over 100 units here on the island, affordable rentals, moderate rentals. And also, they're the ones that have overseen the Wiggles Way project next to Fairgrounds Restaurant. And the Housing Authority has one member on Housing Nantucket. And they're the ones that are actually getting it done. The Affordable Housing Trust just sits on a lot of money, and Housing Nantucket had come to them with plans to get things done. So you're overlooking a very important piece of this puzzle, which is Housing Nantucket. They just finished 3 new houses over in the old Wally World there on Honeysuckle or whatever it is. We had an open house the other day for people to come in and see those 3 buildings.
So, Bert, you're suggesting to stick with the Nantucket Housing Authority?
Your microphone there in that is bad. It doesn't pick everyone up very well. Can you say that again, Barry?
Yes, so you're suggesting to stay with the Nantucket Housing Authority on this, correct?
Yes, because of their connection with Housing Nantucket.
Got it.
It isn't.
Abby?
Doing all
I'm sorry. We good? Okay, Abby?
So let's play it around. Yes.
Did I lose her? Abby, do you have anything at all, or? All right, Mike, I'm gonna go to you and then we'll come back.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very new, obviously, to the discussion, but I'm going to go with the Affordable Housing Trust. Just from what I know about the Affordable Housing Trust and comments made here tonight, it seems like a good fit. Thank you.
Okay, Wendy?
I agree. I defer to Brooke's recommendation. I'm not close enough, and I know that she is. So, thank you.
Yeah. Let me try Abby one more time. Okay, that's not very good. Do you see anything over? I think let's just. Okay, second.
Sorry.
There we go.
I'm muted on my phone, not on the screen.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
Go ahead, Abby.
Hold on, sorry, my camera's not.
Take
on.
your time.
Okay. Sorry, I stepped away for a minute though. Am I voting or giving my opinion?
I just need there's a discussion right now with the housing component, whether it should be the NHA or the Affordable Housing Trust. So
Okay.
I'm giving everyone 3 minutes.
I put it down because I was listening to the discussion. My only thought of the Affordable Housing Trust was I'm fine with, you know, whatever you guys suggest. I hear Nat's point about like, do we want it to be the state agency, like making sure that's connection? My only concern was that, and I think you guys also brought this up, of like someone from other boards can be appointed to the Affordable Housing Trust, and if that would then be some conflict. But I think if people are fine with that, then again, like I absolutely hear the part about like the Affordable Housing Trust has more specific Nantucket knowledge. So like I understand that. So I really feel like I'm supportive either way. Like I don't feel strongly one way or the other because I can kind of see the merits of both. So I will kind of go with whatever the general recommendation is, if you will.
Yeah. I'm trying not to do that because it keeps going, it'll start going round robin, but I'll give you 1 minute.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take an opposite direction. It just occurred to me, the Affordable Housing Trust is a big lift time-wise for people. So adding this might actually be a hard thing, and maybe the throughput through the Housing Authority actually, their meeting schedule is much less demanding than the Affordable Housing Trust. So that is, I'm gonna contradict myself. I'm so sorry.
Don't be. This is what this is for.
I wanna make that point because when I think about all the work that the trust members are doing, it's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
So I'm and based on Bert's comment about the connection through the housing.
And they all, and this is the thing too.
They all work together.
Yeah. And it wasn't long ago, we didn't know the difference between the three. Community. They've kind of emerged in their own entities and I, you know, I think of Satcham's Path, think of all the stuff down my Comet, which is like old now, but it's still there and people live in those houses, you know, those triplexes. But I think that the strength of the representation, I mean, Dave's been on, Penny's on both, right? She's on both. So it has been for years on Housing Authority. I just think that I like what Brooke said. I think, Barry, this conversation, even though we're trying to kind of close things out, I think having someone like Penny or somebody that has been doing this a long time, discuss something with us, maybe at the workshop or whatever. But I think this is what Brooke has said is right. I think it's kind of flushing itself out by natural progression with each entity doing what they're doing. They're all striving for the same thing. So
There's much more coordination.
you know.
So we're gonna,
Okay, Barry.
so Mike, all right, so we were at a stage where the majority were thinking that it should be the Affordable Housing Trust. Now I'm hearing that maybe after a little bit of dialogue, you're all kind of going back to the NHA.
I think in principle.
All right, so you know what, let's kind of, we could bandy this around.
Yeah.
All right, let me just do a roll call though. Okay, and then let's just kind of settle that matter once. Because I think we can argue it back and forth both ways.
Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna argue a point, but no, I think we'll go. Let's see where we're at.
Okay, let's do that. That way I'm not presuming anything. So Nat,
Housing Authority.
Housing Authority, okay. And John?
housing authority, but can I make a comment as well?
You took your minute away already.
Okay, I'm trying to get to the bottom line.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make my comment anyway.
All right.
Is, yes, I'm changing my vote to the housing authority, but I am slightly uncomfortable with the reason being it's a heavy lift, because
Duly noted.
Duly noted.
I think I heard a volunteer for Christina.
Housing authority
Housing.
based on Brooks.
Housing authority.
All right, Dave, Public Authority. I'm gonna echo John's comment and, Public Authority.
Okay. It's, Mike.
Changing my tune as the discussion goes along, but
That means the speaker's working.
That's Abby. We're gonna come back to you in a second, Abby. Wendy?
No. This one's about.
Housing authority is fine.
All right, Bert, I think I already know your answer. Go ahead.
This is a vote to include the housing authority or keep it out.
This is a question of whether it was the Affordable Housing Trust Fund or the Housing Authority, and the majority of your peers so far are pushing toward the Housing Authority. Which one?
If anyone wants my opinion on more detail, I'd be happy to give it, but.
We all agree with them now.
We all agree with you now. Yes, sorry. Abby, one last chance.
She already spoke.
She said she could go either way.
She sounded like she was gonna go either way. Okay, so we're back where we started. Thank you, everyone. That's good. It's nice to have a little bit of dialogue here, but like I said,
we're not going back to the other two. We've already agreed on them.
Once I call it,
Okay.
we're going straight through. Is there something else you wanted to revisit here?
No. We're skipping over to chamber and social council and human
No,
services. We know.
We're just basically saying we're kind of good with where we're
Yeah,
at.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, county commission, there's one person on that. Chance to speak up. Land
Well,
bank,
that's not changing.
conservation commission. We have 3 members of the planning board.
Yep. We agree on that. Do you want to go over a couple of parts of that? Just for the new members?
I would honestly say to you at this point is
We
that.
have new people here, Barry. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so instead of trying to unpack the whole thing, let me kind of just take a stab at this real quickly. The 3 people from the planning board will be decided at the level of the planning board.
Correct.
Okay, so that's where that dialogue of who is going to be part of the NP and EDC will take place.
Correct. I just want everyone to know that. And also, this allows for someone to take a year off for whatever reason comes up in their world. So it's a very good, I think we've come up with a good plan for that.
But Mr. Chair, I think one of the other parts was, if there's something more, say, in Dave's wheelhouse or Nat's wheelhouse, then that person or one person stepped on, that person go down.
Yeah.
That I think more beneficial to this board.
Right, and and I just will say really quickly at this point, one thought I had that I had thrown out to you all was maybe it's the members who are in their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th years. The newly elected person has a year to kind of just get used to everything that's going on, and the person in their 5th year who's going to be leaving at a certain stage. So maybe it's that, but that's a dialogue I think that should be scheduled into the planning board in the not too far future.
Yeah, and it's their decision how they want to approach it.
Right. So if we're good with that.
Yeah, and I also said, if I wasn't sick, I still would be watching the meetings, because I think there's an area.
So, and then we have our 3 members who are at large. Let's just stop here for one.
Point of clarification,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
So the top ones all say appointed. The general at large do not say whether they're appointed or elected.
Nope, and we're gonna have that discussion, although strangely enough.
And when you say just for her appointed by the their boards.
Right.
Christina, sorry.
So.
Like the same as it always has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's really two quick phases to this that it boils down to. All three can be appointed. All three can be elected. Okay. There's pros and cons to either side of that discussion. Let me just kind of work through this for a second. So there's that process that could take place. You could have a mixture of appointed and elected. I think that right now, I mean, we've been doing the appointments in the past, and I think for the moment, I probably suggest we do that. The other thing I want to at least throw out to you is, and I'm going to take point of privilege at the moment, if you don't mind. Actually, you know what? I'm going to shut up. I'm going to hear from each one of you. Okay? 3 minutes. But I want you, again, you've had plenty of time to think about this, and I really want to get to some closure here. You're up first.
Yeah, I guess my question is I am not for having at-large elected. I think it's messy. I think it puts a lot of pressure on people to run a campaign and to put themselves out there, and I think it's difficult. I do question whether, in the wisdom of us, of the commission appointing at large, and maybe we should hand that off to someone else, like the county
possible,
or the select board, possibly, if that's possible. And again, I don't know what the right answer is, but I think that if we passed on the appointing authority for those at-large members, I think it would be better for the commission. And that's where I stand.
I am fine with being appointed, but my point is, do we bring in the county commissioners and then work with us, kind of broaden it, so it's not like, you know, kind of like when I got on the planning board, it's like, what in the planning board, does that work? Does that kind of broaden it out? So there's more, you know, we're not all tied to one board. It's a multiple, it's all different variations, different perspectives. I think that might be more the way to go. I think that that's a very successful way as far as, you know, having the plan board and select board vote on someone. I think that works really well. I think that may be something.
That's a new wrinkle, Joe.
All right.
I do that for them.
So to
thought of that one.
So to unpack that, so that I just so I'm clear, you're suggesting that all three be appointed and that there be maybe different appointing authorities.
I think so, but that's part of the problem. Is everyone's saying it's just it's an in-house, you know, we're cooking the books or making our own stew, and I don't think that's the case. But I'm just saying a way to draw it out would be, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah,
from public perspective.
But yeah, I understand that. You know,
You gotta add some seats at for fairgrounds in the front.
well, that you just started the process at this point. So TikTok, you're up.
Wow, I like Joe's idea. It's actually really good. I didn't think of it.
So you're suggesting appointed and with appointing authorities. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean, he suggested maybe the commission and the county commissioners do it together at the joint meeting.
Yeah.
And I would support that. I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea.
So you will probably wind up, as I'm starting to listen to you, you're probably going to wind up with a homework project next week.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it there.
I say, I'm sorry. I think as I'm beginning to listen to you, okay, so I'm just going to throw this out. You're probably going to have a homework project between now and next week. Okay. Before we get to the workshop phase.
Barry, you're probably gonna need to speak up. I'll put those guys there. I'm having a hard time hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's our air conditioners right in our ear, I think, but yeah.
I'm
So-
sorry, thank you.
Make sure that Owl picks you up.
I promise I will speak up.
Is that
I'm
all
very
the way
good at
to
projecting.
Byron, I'm gonna have to raise my hand above Nat's head, so
Oh.
my hand above Nat's head.
It's a big head.
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I'm gonna let you have a stab at this.
Well, I would support what Joe just said. And the reason for that is that, I just recently got appointed to the planning board from a joint select board, planning board meeting. And what that did for me was I felt like I actually earned the position. It wasn't one board or another board. I earned the position from a broader group of people. And that kind of gave me a confidence level to do then what I was appointed to do. And I think, if we think about how other people feel, I think they would feel better about getting into this board if it was that way. Thank you.
Yeah, Brooke?
I think we should rewrite the charter and remove all appointing authority from take it away from the select board. That's just my personal opinion.
We're giving it to the county commission.
Just saying. I think joint's great. I think it does bring a broader perspective and eliminates the inside ball thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Christine?
So I have heard all the arguments as to why elected is bad and it takes time and it takes energy and people don't want to do it. But I think it's the democratic way to be fair and allow anybody who wants to be on a board to actually voice their opinion. I've heard a lot from the public. I've watched the news, and heard the town meetings and the comments about this board and how insulary they are. And just sitting on here, I feel like sometimes it is really insulary, and the appointing from within, I think, is a bad look, and the public has spoken loud and clear that they don't like it. And I think that we need to respect that. And so I feel strongly that we should consider election. And if that's voted down, we should at least consider getting it out from the commission, appointing within their own. So that's just my feeling.
Okay, thank you. Bert?
Well, I get elected every so many years to the housing authority. And the housing authority appoints me to this board. So I am elected, and I also am appointed. I get both sides of it.
But we're specifically focusing on the at-large members, the 3 at-large members, and what would be the method of getting them onto this board. So specifically, would you rather see them elected, appointed, a combination there? That's the question before us.
Well, it seems with some of our boards, we have people that are both elected and appointed. We could have a couple of members appointed and we could have a couple of members elected.
But yeah. Is he talking about at large? Is he getting mixed up?
We're gonna, Abby?
I heard my name.
Yes. So our 3 at-large members, the discussion, are you familiar with where we're at within the discussion phase of this?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you have to say?
I mean, obviously I am biased being an at-large member myself, but I would say that I think the opportunity at large is to, fill in any of those spots where we might not have a dedicated person. And so I think it's a good way to, I think 3 is a good number. It's enough that if there's one area where the community might feel like we don't have one, I know one that has come up obviously has been historic preservation. Obviously, again, me being an at-large member, I'm on the NHC, but I think what also I thought the opportunity of that is that with example, again, historic preservation I'm using, if it's an at-large member, it doesn't necessarily have to be one organization. Like I happen to be from the NHC, but it could be someone from NPT or NHA. And so I think that that is one of the benefits of having those at-large spots where it could represent what some of those areas that we might think is important, but is a little less restrictive of like, it has to be appointed by this group. So that, I think we can say, we hope that it's certain areas, and like, when we're looking for people to be at-large members, maybe we can encourage participation that way. But I think it is, again, good to keep it a little bit flexible. So that was just my personal opinion.
Okay. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I favor appointed. I think you're going to get a wider range of candidates. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both, but elections can be intimidating to some people or burdensome. So I would say appointed, and I like Joe's idea of spreading it out a little bit as well.
Yep. Thank you.
Sorry, Barry, I didn't put that in. Obviously, I do support it being appointed for the same reasons. I just think it'll be easier to get people.
All right, yeah, that's kind of what I figured you were, and Tony, thank you. Wendy?
Yeah, I agree that the point has been made by the public that they'd like to see at least a couple elected seats. So I've been in favor of that all along here. Barring, if that's not the will of this group, I love the idea of a different appointing board. That's absolutely a great idea and very key. So my first choice is, at least 2 elected. Second choice, appointed by another body.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to join in. Good. I think one of the things that is going to make a determination here is the term length. And I think you've heard from staff that it probably really should be a year for no matter what position we're talking about. It should be years worth of time. And now all of a sudden it raises questions in my mind. Do you want to have to go through an election process every year? The election process itself, I think, is a much higher bar to have to pass. And it only, again, there's not just the time and energy involved into having to do that and run a campaign. It's also the finances involved with that as well, too. You're investing a lot of time and energy, whereas the appointment process, I think, will open the door to a lot more people. You will have the opportunity, I think it would hopefully encourage a lot more people to try to run for it. Now, even when we've been doing appointments, the last several appointments we had, how many we had? 2. You really want to make them both go through an election process? I would challenge that straight up front. So in my own personal opinion, I think appointments are probably the better way to go here. Listening to you all, the only thing I'd probably say is that in terms of the appointment process, I'm not sure I would want to do a joint thing where, like we do with the select board, for instance, with it. I think I would probably either want us to have the ability to appoint one, maybe turf the other 2 into strictly a different organization, be it the county commissioners, select board, town manager, town clerk, maybe the moderator. Yeah, I know. Sarah, I'm going to get a phone call from Sarah in about an hour. But let us step back from that a little bit and allow it to see how it would work by having a sole appointment person or entity under which to do it. I think instead of doing it jointly, if you were to open it up to certain things like, for instance, the town manager, the town clerk, maybe the NHA board, you would get a lot more robust ability. And the other thing too is if it's only a single person doing that appointment, it's not, it's not stacked. I think it will give you a higher degree of flexibility in that process of doing that level of appointment. So my own gut feeling is to turf two of those off into another person or entity thereof, and the third one can be under our domain. And then let's see how that flows. Yes, sir.
Just my concern about that is that I think that if we're going to ask someone else to be the appointing authority, that's going to need to be elected officials. I don't think.
Okay.
Somebody needs to be accountable for those decisions.
That's an excellent point.
So, just my opinion, and I feel strongly that we should not be appointing them as a board, as a commission.
And so, if I may, you're suggesting all three should go through that process? Okay. And I just want to echo real quickly that, because at least the remedy for dealing with problems lies back to who the appointing authority was, whereas in this particular instance, especially the at-large, it becomes, I don't think the lines are quite as clear. So I would agree with you. That's a really excellent point. Go ahead.
Just, I haven't really spoken directly on this yet. I'm sorry. We're getting close to this coming out. I just want to agree. Joe's idea is brilliant. Brilliant. Because first of all, you got to think about the state and how they think, Barry. Like the county commissioners, like that's like matters. Like, you know what I'm saying? To have that added in to the appointment process. But I want to get on this whole elected, the first government study committee, I don't know if maybe you remember this, Alan got saddled with that, dealing with that right at the town meeting floor. And there was a movement to make the planning board appointed, the HDC appointed, like it was the most upside down thing. And it was rejected. Now, with that said, when things get said about the public wants elected, well, okay. I think the public was confused about what was elected and what isn't on this commission here. Like that, not about other things. The Concom and the ZBA would be getting them pushed to be elected if that was the case, because they have a lot of control, a lot of power in their individual boards. With that said, to go back to the historic Nantucket stuff, like the water company is elected, but there's not like there's nobody at the dump with signs to run for the water company, okay? Shad, same thing. Housing authority has just traditionally been elected because it was just elected. There wasn't any real reason it was or wasn't. I think that this commission, these three members are getting sort of wrapped into this other conversation. I think making it more transparent, making it, as Dave just actually added a good point, using the county 5 elected select board members to add with our board, our commission, with is mixed of elected people, and with some new people that would be added, from different organizations. I think it makes a lot of sense, Barry. It's clean. This is a clean thing to make this be the county and the commission to appoint the at-large members, in my opinion. I think it's a cleaner process, more open, and it doesn't look like we're making our own soup, as Joe said.
Well,
even though I don't think that's the case at all, I think that it does reflect better. And it will get set up with Erica's system and how this all works. So I'm not concerned about that.
We're looking beautiful.
I don't know. I'm not looking at you for comment. I'm just focusing.
No,
I do that sometimes.
I think sometimes someone's electable, and I don't think they really have the knowledge or whatever, but that the name, and I think that there is sometimes that if you're watching all the boards, you're sometimes, oh, well, why was that person picked? It's this person that's been stronger on that board, but that name is more recognizable. I think sometimes people go to the polls, they're just picking a name. Oh, I know Joe Topham from 50 or whatever it is. Like, but I just, it's not what the experience is. And I think for the at-large seat, like Wendy comes with a suitcase of knowledge that's just so beneficial to the board. And I'm not saying we should, but that is someone that I look as, you know, comes in with a lot to offer to this board. And I think that that's where we need to go forward. And I think in that case, if say she's shy, then she doesn't want to do the whole going out and putting herself on that. But I think there's going to this board and meeting with us. I don't feel like no one has ever not wanted to cross the street and talk to me or call me or whatever. So I don't get what Christine is going towards. And I heard that, but I don't see it. So I don't know what she's hearing or whatever, but I haven't witnessed that. So that's why I'll have a conversation with Christine later, or if she wants to add. But it's just like, I don't see that as the board. And so that's why I'm having a little hard time with that. I think it's just who's the right person for the board. And I think that the way we've talked about this maybe. And I'd love to add the FinCom, but I don't want to, I think that they're more based on today's meetings, you know, is that something where you want to add them? And I've heard Dawn has said it is extremely stressful to hire someone. Okay, so you looked at me, that's your fault.
I know, no, I'm sorry. I do that because all of a sudden, I'm trying to crystallize what the thoughts are, and so you'll catch me doing this. Believe me, if I need you, I'll talk to you. I'm sorry about doing that. It's better than doing this. Let me just kind of give you a different spin on things. I wouldn't suggest that we be part of the determination of an appointing authority. If you're going to do it, it should just be us alone. To do it jointly, let's say between the county commissioners and us, that doesn't necessarily work. We're 13, they're 5. We eclipse them automatically. It works for the planning board very nicely because it's balanced. It's 5-5. So that's where I think I would just recommend to this board, you're better off turfing that appointment to that entity alone. Let them vet the candidates and determine who they think would be good. It removes it from us, you know, unequivocally, and allows someone else to make that decision for us. But it should, as you said, be a town entity, so there is that level of accountability, because we can always go back to the appointing authority. I'm glad you said, I'm glad I let you speak, because you said the FinCom, which I almost forgot about. They could be a viable entity as well, too.
Yeah, they can't be on any other board. They can only.
That's right, but they can appoint, they can opt to appoint. And I will tell you that when we looked at this quite a while ago, there are other regional planning agencies that turf out some of these appointments to other boards and commissions in the community under which to do it. They don't automatically take on the whole thing. That's where I came up with the town moderator, because there is one RP that does that. So I'm hearing the majority of you want to go to appointed. Do you feel like we should do this as an official vote and take it in that way? Because I'll just break this down into two sections. The first one, you can agree by majority right now that we're going to do appointed.
Appointed by.
Okay, just no.
Okay.
No. Let's just stick with where I'm going to take you to.
Okay.
The positions would be appointed as opposed to being elected. Let's just take it to that level right now. Don't try to break it down any further. Okay, and then we can talk about process from there, because that's where the homework side comes in. All right. I'm feeling like I should do this as a vote. Right. What do you think? Okay. Matt, appointed, elected.
Appointed.
John,
Appointed.
Christina,
Elected.
elected. Brooke,
Appointed.
Mr. Iverson?
Appointed.
Appointed. Okay. Mike?
Appointed.
Wendy?
Elected.
Okay. Bert?
Appointed.
And Abby? Getting you a new wireless connection for Christmas. All right, I think that pretty much sums it up. So we're gonna go to the 3 at-large will be appointed. Now, here comes the homework project. Because we've got this slew of different bodies that can do the appointment. Can I just ask you a general question is, are you all pretty good with the concept of if we turf it to that entity, it is that entity alone, not a joint thing? Pretty good with that.
Barry, I could not hear what you said.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I've got, my sinuses are throwing everything off. I hear myself really well. I might not be hearing everything else really, so just keep doing that to me. I'm sorry. So I'm
Just the last sentence, you said turfing it off to another board, and then there was something about, is it them alone or jointly? Is that what you asked?
what I was saying is I'm gathering the sense that it really should be just that entity and not a joint appointment. And as I said, the rationale for that was that if we were to do a joint appointment with the select board, it'd be a 13-5 vote. There'd be 13 members of this board or 12 members of this board doing that process. And I don't think that's not good weighting.
13-5. I get what you mean. Not a vote of 13-5. You meant.
Well,
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
This board would be.
It's like not even like 5 and 5 added together.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or 4 and 5.
Right. Right.
That's
okay.
Okay. But in the old days, Barry, and you were around longer than me, there was a lot of times this board was half and half too.
Oh, I know.
It wasn't always like this, just so you know. So, I mean, you got to think about how things cycle around. It's not always the same.
No. And it will.
There's natural change. And that's
right.
That's one of the reasons why I get so frustrated when there's all these things that get made wrong. And it's really actually pretty good.
All right.
That's
so, oh, John, sorry.
Well, I'd just like to add one other thing to the mix. Could this commission have an appointing committee of 5 people, whatever the number? You know, we.
All right.
No, because I feel strongly about.
Well,
that's a good point. All right, so we could go round robin about this.
Yeah, we don't want to go too.
And I think we're so close to the truth. This isn't even funny. Why don't we do this? I'm going to give you a homework project. You're going to give me who your 3 appointing authorities are.
So hold on a second. Are you worried about like 9 votes against 9?
No, what I'm worried about.
I know what Barry was saying.
But hold on a second. Don't forget, she has 2 seats. So you're on back to an odd number. It's that way you look at it.
Yeah,
but Joe was, I think what Barry was saying, Joe, is 13 Red Sox and 5 Yankees. Yeah, that's how he was looking at it.
Yeah, that's sorry.
So it doesn't accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
I don't see it that way, but I get how that could be.
Well, you just said even, so I was like, what is it?
It's yeah.
Sorry.
So you're going to funnel your answers to Leslie or Megan? Megan. Okay. Here's what I want you locked and loaded for our next meeting, because we'll dispense with that. I want you to give me who your 3 appointing authorities are. And B.
I don't know. What do you mean by 3? Where's that coming from?
Well, all right, bear with me, because you've got 3 at large. Now, you could turf all 3 at large to one entity, like the FinCom. Okay? But I want you to go, what I want you to do is go FinCom, FinCom, FinCom. That way there's no mistake about what you're doing with position 1, position 2, and position 3. Because some of us may decide that Oh, FinCom for one. Let's see,
Okay.
town clerk for another.
And have every board hate us.
All right,
Yeah, why not? Let's share the goodwill around. But I want your three. See if we can converge into something. All right. Because I think that will help things. Now,
all right. Okay.
Go ahead.
Just point of clarification, is this to be submitted, to be discussed for the Monday meeting?
yes.
Okay, so I need it for Wednesday.
What Monday? Oh, the workshop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm out, we don't-
All right, so can I,
I'm gonna do this Wednesday.
can I just
Can
add,
you also, I hate to do this to you, but can you share out the aggregate results afterwards?
Yeah.
All right, because
Of course.
you may come up with the best idea in the world that I haven't even thought of, and I think that sharing will help. But it'll also give us a sense as to where, yeah, no problem, where we find those commonalities at. Does that sound like a viable way to deal with this?
yeah,
Because I'm open to anything else, but I think
Right, so-
this will help streamline the process.
so I just want to add, memory lane here a little bit. Planning board alternate. County select board works fine. We have had all kinds of different people have
Yeah.
come along,
Yeah.
okay? ZBA, Concom, back and forth. Joe's idea, I still think is genius. I get the number game issue. But I still feel that the diversity of the commission overrules the sort of sides thing you brought up. But I'm personally, I'm in agreement with either the county by itself or the joint thing that Joe brought up. I think the finance committee idea is out of the scope of all of it, in my opinion.
Well, I don't want to take anything off the table.
No, I understand it got brought up. I'm just saying, that's how I feel.
I think it's important for you to have.
You don't want to create like mass confusion either. I feel a little bit of that bubbling.
Congratulations, I think it's got through the top.
Okay,
So. Membership term length.
oh. That's.
We're gonna move on to a whole thing. Staff has suggested 1 year. Which seems to be consistent for most of your appointments that are happening out there anyways.
You're talking, but this is about the other
Is it
new
at
stuff,
large, is it?
not the at-large. You
It's
have
gonna be
3
the
appointments a
at-large.
year.
It's gonna be the whole Monty.
Why?
Why not?
Why can't we have different lengths for different?
Why would we do that? What was, I don't
think
remember that
at-large
being
should
brought
be
up.
3 years. There's too much
I
going on
agree.
here.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let it be a year.
Okay, so you guys are thinking 3 years.
Because I think we discussed, Barry, as I recall. The way the Concom is set up, the way the county's set up, that those. Just continue with these, with the chamber, with the cultural, it's just, we get a new person every year, the same person every year. But the at-large is different. You have people, at-large over the years, has been a very significant roles. Like what Wendy's been doing with that off-island stuff. I mean, you don't want that to have to keep getting potentially changed. I don't know how to explain it any other way, but I think it should be 3.
We need
And
the
it's staggered.
continuity.
Yeah,
We need the continuity, I think.
it's a commitment as well.
Yeah. All right, so John.
Yeah, well, I've been a large member of the short-term rental work group and the planning board.
I mean,
I would not have done the planning board if I thought I can only do this for 1 year. I mean, you have to think about this from the people that are going to do it. If
Yeah,
you want
makes
them
no
to have
sense.
the interest level, then it has to be worthwhile for them. I mean, to be.
It could take a year to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, well, this is, yeah.
Yeah, because Barry, I always think about my time on the planning board as a large member, as an apprenticeship. That's how I characterize it, because it was only as I was coming to the end of that I felt like, okay, I got it. I got it, and now I can contribute. So I think to have anything less than 3 years is not very fair on the person, people that you're asking to do it. Yeah.
And so that's okay. Did you guys have anything?
Mike, is this good?
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would say, based on my experience with the Concom, it took me a year plus to really get my feet underneath me there. There's a lot, obviously, that that goes on the Conservation Commission. So for the at-large members, I would be favoring that 3-year window as well. Thank you.
Anyone else? No. So, I'm sorry,
Wendy.
Wendy?
I'll just pipe in. I agree. 3 years is better.
All right. So let me recap what you're asking at this point is that for the regular boards that we have on here, like
Yes,
the Island Chamber or whatever, they are a 1-year appointment, correct?
yes,
And then the at-large will be a 3-year appointment, correct? We all good there? All right. So I don't think we need to go any further with that. So that's how that'll spec itself out. And hopefully you'll all be good with the 3 at-large members being on the same, since there'll be different appointing authorities for that. They'll all come up at the same time.
You can stagger.
no, why can't it be like it is now, Barry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's staggered.
Why can't, I'm sorry, what is it now?
It's every year there's one person.
Every year for a 3-year term, so every year you all are selecting one.
Yeah,
Much more sense than have a turnover of 3 brand new. I mean, we could have multiples on the turnover of the appointed, which hopefully we won't. People will want to stay, but I think that if we stagger that, at least that helps not having a huge board
Yeah.
turnover in a year.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going at this point. I agree with that. I'm just trying to figure out the implementation of language for it. I guess.
well, no, what would end up happening, Barry, if this was approved?
Yeah.
It would just, the existing terms would just do their own thing and become a different appointing, but they would just continue in their current time.
The only thing is that when we hit implementation phase for this, initially, one person's gonna have to come on for 1 year, one person's gonna have to come on for 2 years, one person's gonna have to come on for 3 years.
Well, if they,
No,
And
they
then,
won't.
and then they'll pick up.
No,
then
they're
they'll pick up
existing.
but the existing ones are already staggered.
Already there.
So
But
when
wait, how many at-large members do we have?
3.
3.
Christina, Johnny, Wendy.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, so, and they're all staggered. Never mind.
It's all set, Barry.
For 25,
Never mind.
we're just overthinking it.
Yeah,
Never mind.
it's all set.
Yeah,
We're set.
Yeah.
We're set.
Even
I'm
I got
sorry.
that figured out. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And we're not gonna talk about term limit stuff, right?
I think we need to. Let's just,
Okay, I think we should cover that just to cover it.
that's exactly what I want to do. And like I said, staff drafted
I'm not
this
sure if
out.
that's even on here. I can't see it.
Once staff
No.
drafted this out and you had a conversation at the last meeting is you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were basically opposed to the idea of putting in term limits. Is that the consensus of this board?
Yes. Well, let's take a
You want to do it by vote?
discussion.
I'm just not clear what term limits would look like, right? I mean,
It's just,
if
it
you're
doesn't
on the
work.
planning board and you're reelected, I mean, clearly the community supports you in your position,
Yep.
so why would you be limited to serve on this commission if you keep getting reelected? Like there were 3 boards, takes care of that. Yeah.
So you're all, I think I'm pretty much hearing you guys on the screen as well.
I just
too.
don't know what it would accomplish.
All right, so can I say that the consensus here believes that there should be no term limits? Do you want to do
Correct.
this by vote? Or are you pretty much just doing this by consensus?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Whatever you want to
I
do.
mean,
Barry.
Christina hasn't even spoken to it.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree with you because I think so many of them are appointed. It's really only the at-large ones that are a question. they're appointed and they're appointed every year. They could change at any given time.
Yeah.
And that enabling body already has, if they have term limits, then the term limits are gonna be handled there. And if they don't, then they can still switch it. I think it would be very complicated.
Yes, I think it would.
Yeah,
And I think the conversation we had last,
you,
with Seth's input.
Yeah.
Christina had a lot to say too. I was too small. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge out there, and there's gonna be natural turnover like there is now.
Yep.
And that those people that want to stay have that, ability to stay, not choice, but ability.
Right.
So.
I agree with you that, and I think the whole thing is you shouldn't be shying away from someone who's got institutional knowledge.
Yeah.
Too important.
And this definitely would put a barrier into that place. Yeah, there are other mechanisms where if you don't think they're a good candidate, it can be dealt with. And I think with the way we're structuring this now, it'll handle itself onto its own board. I'm pretty confident with that. Can we move on? All right. Two more things. Transition plan to be determined, but I want to throw something out to you. I think in terms of doing a transition plan, there's a very easy way to do this. And once this legislation is approved by the state, who will be who has to do this, you set it for the next annual meeting, whereas the change takes place. It should be pretty much one change that'll take place only once. And I would set that at your annual meeting under which to do it. It should give you plenty of time to begin to figure out what that's going to look like. And you will have continuity in the process as well, too. Because if you look at it, some of the members will probably stay the same. Your planning board members will stay the same. Your housing will stay the same. County commissioners will stay the same. Land bank will stay the same. Conservation Commission will stay the same. So you're going to have that continuity. It's not like you're going to wipe the board clean and it'll be this whole new slate. So I might suggest making it simple and making the transition stage to this new plan to concur with an annual meeting, which would be in July. Once this is implemented through the state. Does that sound like a reasonable game plan? You need time to think about it.
I mean,
I think it'll become more apparent what makes sense as we nail it down and finalize it and get closer. I think that there's just a lot of moving parts. So
yeah,
I agree with you. I think there should be a rollover date, right?
Yeah, there's going to have to
be. It makes sense to have it with the annual appointments. So when the annual appointments happen, 2 members of the planning board will fall off.
Yep.
And the at-large piece will roll as their terms end.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that seems to make sense.
All right, that's good. That's because that's an important thing, and we've got to include that somehow.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Final objective.
Oh, we're good.
This has been good, healthy dialogue. What do you want to call it?
Oh, that.
Yeah, there's the capstone.
I forgot about that.
This is, I don't think we've missed anything. I think we have covered all of your prerequisite bases now. So I appreciate it. It's been good, healthy dialogue. This is the fun part. What do we call it?
Where do you want to start, Barry?
The
reason that this all came up you have to go back to that, is there's too many words.
Yeah.
And we don't need to have economic development anymore. We've had that discussion for 20 years. Pretty close. Feels like it.
So with that in mind, you just want me to go around the table, give me the name.
Oh, I know what you've got here.
The staff has come up with Nantucket Planning Commission. I
thought we were doing,
all talked about.
I thought we said regional
Yeah.
commission.
That was kind of, I agree.
I mean,
What, Nantucket Regional Planning Commission?
no, regional commission.
Just Regional Commission?
Go ahead.
I thought that's what it was.
Leslie wanted to.
Go ahead, Leslie, sorry.
No, I thought that you all had talked about Nantucket Planning Commission, but if it was Nantucket Regional Commission, I wasn't particularly suggesting that. I
Okay.
thought you-
Oh, okay, all right. I just wanted to see if that would conform.
Okay, so. Oh, can I, is it okay if I talk right now and then I'll stop?
So
you have, I'm definitely gonna try. So we have vineyard.
Two things,
This is the,
3 minutes and. don't
yeah,
get-
I know. I know, I haven't, I haven't signed, I don't think once. All right.
We got a tally sheet.
But it usually gets, the owl didn't change. All right,
Brooke, I'm sorry, let me stop
So-
that. Hold on.
you get Brooke back.
Yeah.
All right,
Hold on
so
for 1 sec. Brooke,
Yes.
we're down to that one.
the name
element
thing.
Of what we're gonna call this thing.
Oh.
So
gosh,
we
I'm
have,
sorry.
so we have the Vineyard Commission. That's it. It just says Vineyard Commission. Then we have Cape Cod Commission. And Franklin is what? Franklin County Commission or something
Actually,
like that.
just happened to have a list of all
Right.
of them.
You get that and I'll keep talking. So one of the biggest problems we have here. And they definitely don't have this problem in the vineyard. There's 6 planning boards over there. Okay. 1 regulatory vineyard commission. Right? So they don't have this like confusion of who's who and who can do what. I think the word planning is kind of creates the confusion with even the historic commission versus the historic district commission gets confusing to people. Like people never even heard of it before, but there was 2 different entities, right? I'm not even 100% clear on the Nantucket Regional Commission, but it definitely needs to be something without the word planning. So if we said Nantucket Commission, I don't know if that fits because it has never been said. It's like a brand new thing. I don't know if that's the right way to go. But does regional work, Leslie, in your eyes, because we're one town?
Well, you're one of the 13.
That's the catch, but we're a regional, we're in our PA, so it does work. Okay,
All right, so Leslie, go ahead.
I think that was Andrew's thought.
You kind of started and got cut off there.
Oh, do you want to hear the names of the other ones? Is that
Sure.
important?
Why not? Humorous.
Okay, we have
It's good now.
Berkshire Regional Planning Commission. Then we have Cape Cod Commission. We have Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. Franklin Regional Council of Governments. I'm going off a slideshow here.
Yeah.
Martha's Vineyard Commission. Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. Metropolitan Area Planning Council, that's Boston. Montechusett Regional Planning Commission. Us. North Middlesex Council of Governments. Old Colony Planning Council. Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development District. So some are much simpler than others.
Now I'm suddenly not against the word planning as much as I was 1 minute
all right.
ago.
So
NRPC. You gotta think of all these
Not
abbreviations.
just the Nantucket Commission.
Okay, are we gonna go around?
we're gonna go around.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm sensing that rather rapidly. Thank you. You stole my thunder with intent. Good, someone needed to. John,
Well, Nantucket Commission for me just feels like it's missing a word. It's commission of what, and I'm looking at all of our own commissions on the island. And So, I think it does need a word. So I would be Nantucket Regional Commission.
Yeah, Christina.
I agree that Nantucket Commission just is too broad. It doesn't give enough definition. I would love to hear the word long-term in there to kind of give the differentiation between the Nantucket Planning Board and what we are. But it's not really there in any of the others. I think regional or county will help people understand that we're at a broader level than the Nantucket Planning Board.
We've already got a county commission though.
All right,
No, but
so-
she, but
so-
hang on.
she meant by the word regionals, right?
It's Christine, so thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
so
So go ahead.
so I would go, if there's already a county that, I'd go either Nantucket Regional Planning Commission. Some way to put in long-term in there, I don't know. But that's kind of where I'm headed. But the commission just is too simplified.
Rob.
Like, I don't like too many words. But you need enough words. That night,
She's right.
that my word said.
You really are a politician. Well done. Sorry.
Hey,
No, that was beautiful.
Making in a governmental setting, I'm a politician, unabashedly. Nantucket Long-Term Planning Commission, to me, says that is what people want and expect from this group. And you could be NLPC, because long-term's hyphenated, so it's one word.
Long-term,
One
one
word.
word.
But it, yeah,
There's no back and forth at this point. Okay. Want to come back?
My hands up.
Thing, really what we do in here
We're going around the table.
It'd be great.
Everything.
is my question. Like, I think that's where we
well,
gotten into a problem with the name we have, right? People think that we do all the planning when we don't necessarily do it. So I would favor the Nantucket Regional Commission over having the word planning there. We do planning. But I don't think it's the majority of what we do in here. And I think it gives the public a wrong sense of what we do. So that's my concern about having the planning piece kept in there. So I think I would favor some more words, so it would be the Nantucket Regional Commission.
John.
I kind of got hooked up on Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission and thought about Nantucket Regional Planning Commission, so that's where I'm at. I mean, at first, I like what was on their agenda, but I'm starting to feel like that. I do definitely think regional planning, and I do agree with you that people get us confused with planning boards. So, but I think the regional, and I understand what Christine is saying and Brooke about the long term, word long in there. I think that would be important, but I just feel like it's going to be too wordy. So I'm at Nantucket Regional, I think.
Wendy.
I'm in favor of Nantucket Regional Planning Commission. Definitely.
Okay.
Don't need to go into it too far. I wanted to make one point earlier about the economic development comment. I know what you meant, Nat, of like unbridled growth kind of economic.
it's just, yeah.
But the point of it is, I mean, in my mind, is a certain kind of economic development that we want to find ways to foster independent business. We supported the chain store bylaw, that kind of thing. So there's tons of work to be done in that area. If it's not been the focus of this group, then it needs a home somewhere, I guess. Chamber's good in a lot of directions, but anyway, I just wanted to chime in those 2 cents. But Nantucket Regional Planning Commission, I think, really fits with the rest of the state. It certainly aligns with what we see on the Rural Policy Advisory Commission, most of those groups, et cetera. So I like that a lot.
Thank you. Bert.
Nantucket Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah. Abby?
Those are rings.
I thought looking at the data, like listening to the other commissions, the names, I do agree with Dave's point. I think just Nantucket Regional Commission fits what it does and is broad enough. I do think if we bring in, like, I don't hate if everybody wants planning, but I do think that sometimes it does engender confusion, which isn't necessary. And I think also that the same thing if we brought in the term long-term, like, I think that long-term planning could and is part of also what the planning board does. So I don't think you need to like add in those very specific words. So I would vote with Nantucket Regional Commission.
Mike?
Nantucket Regional Planning Commission sounds good to me.
All right. So I'm thinking Nantucket Regional Commission. Here's why. There seems to be a great deal of confusion and sometimes politicization of using the word planning in there. All right, it's not just, I think there's legitimate confusion at times, and I think that there's also the fact that people are using that and weaponizing that one word at times. You know, and that is a problem. We do plan, there's no question about it. But we plan in a very different way because we are advisory in nature. People keep forgetting that thought. We are advisory, we are not regulatory. We are not regulatory. We aren't governing 13, 15 different towns or cities underneath us. We have the distinct pleasure of being one source entity, which in my mind was the best thing that ever happened to us because boy, do we get some perks by being able to leverage against the other 12 regional planning agencies. If we did, we would be basically the poor stepchild of someone else, having crumbs fall into our lap. So we're blessed with that. But I am a little concerned about the direction and the velocity of where people have taken that word planning to. And I do like the idea that we at least include the word regional in there because that really is our focus. It isn't local in any way, shape, or form. That keeps getting to be a source of pinpoint confusion too. We're not the master of everything. We don't intend to be the master of everything. But we do tend to put our best foot forward by working with other regions under which to do things. Certainly we get, a lot of times we get pulled into local things at the request of town, by town administration. It's perfectly understandable. So I'm going to say Nantucket Regional Commission. I think it's short, it's sweet, it's succinct, and brings us to the point. So we're down to two choices, I think. Nantucket Regional Planning Commission or Nantucket Regional Commission. You want to do this by vote?
Can I add something, Barry?
I'll give you a minute.
I know, it's awful. So I thought of something after Joe said something. The short name. So for years, I just call it the Plan Commission. Because that's what Donald Visco said.
Yeah, I know.
Plan Commission. Right? That's what it is. But the NPNEDC, you have to say all that. Like we're trying to make it sort of like a song, like a little simple. So I'm still gonna say Planning Commission when it's the right time to say it. Right? But the word regional fixes, in my opinion, it kind of fixes the planning problem word a little bit. So now think about it as sort of like etched in stone, kind of like a monument. The Nantucket Regional Planning Commission sounds a lot better than Nantucket Economic Development Commission, right? It sounds nice. It has like a sort of a flow to it. NRPC sounds like all the other objectives we have today. I'm stuck though. I like both. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
So I'm good. I'm gonna stop you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna depart a little bit here for a minute. Leslie?
I like Nantucket Regional Commission. I think it's simple. I think it removes the crossover, if you will, between the planning board and the planning commission in terms of planning. Because the planning board, as you all know, under state law, plans for the long-term physical development of the municipality. We're only one municipality. We're not a region gathering different municipalities' plans and putting them together. So, and I like that it's similar to the Cape Cod Commission, the Martha's Vineyard Commission, the Nantucket Regional Commission. That's the one I would pick.
That's okay. No, I would have been, you're a very important part of this equation. And when it comes time to this is why I wanted to include you as part of that discussion. Because not only from what you know of here, but what you know of the other agencies out there as well too. I think you have a much more intimate sense of how that comports and how that comports within the community as well too. Yeah. So you have one of two choices. Nantucket Regional Planning Commission, Nantucket Regional Commission. We good with those two? Let's schedule a vote. Yeah. Now.
NRC.
Yeah. John?
Nantucket Regional Commission, NRC.
Yeah. Christina?
Nantucket Regional Commission.
NRC, Nantucket Regional Commission.
You guys are making this too.
NRC. I'm gonna stick to my initial.
What's that?
I'm gonna stick with my initial. I don't want to be like the thing. Sorry, it's Nantucket. No, I'm fine with Nantucket Regional Planning Commission, so.
You want Nantucket Regional Planning? Okay. All right. Wendy?
I think I'm outnumbered, but I liked Nantucket Regional Planning Commission too.
That's okay. No, there's no right or wrong answer here at this point.
I don't mind NP and EDC, but I'm totally in the minority there. Like everybody's gonna keep calling it that forever.
All right. Let's bring it back. That was good. Now, Mike.
That was good.
Either works, but I'll go with NRC.
Okay, Abby.
Hi, sorry. I still go with Nantucket Regional Commission. Thanks.
And Bert?
Nantucket Regional Planning Commission.
Okay. What we got? I think it's Nantucket Regional Commission.
You had 7 for that and 3. There's 11 of you, so don't get.
Very you. Very you.
Oh, I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Nantucket Regional Commission.
Okay, that's 8 in favor of that.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Wow.
Well,
Finally,
guess what?
good job.
Now we can get a draft.
You're getting a t-shirt.
Rocking out. Yeah, that's okay. There's still.
If the name changes, does that not have to relate to release of Iron Grip?
Yeah, I
At
agree.
least,
Oh my
at
God.
least be very proud of yourself. This has been a long time.
No, I think.
I'll send you my latest moped
And I wanted,
You led us through it perfectly. Joe.
now, and I really wanted to thank you all, because I know that this was a slightly longer process, but I thought it was really important, given where we're at, how long we've been at it. Doesn't mean things can't, sometimes I've always told people the best thing to do is to address the situation, begin to think about what you want to do with it, make the decision, and then if we need to, we can always revisit. We'll have that chance. But especially for the public as well, too, it is important that we at least have this solid base to kind of work off of now, under which to do. So, thank you for your perseverance. Thank you for your time. Thank you for doing the exercise. Good job. Thank you.
No, it's exciting. I've been wishing that we could finish this ages ago.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we're there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's still gonna be tweaks and things. but-
Yeah.
It's, you know what, I'd be foolish to say that there shouldn't be some tweaks, but I think we're so close to the plate now, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think we got time to let it marinate and set.
Oh, I-
kind of revisit it.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You know, what if you may come up with, you know, the greatest, newest name in the world, and it's like, we're all just agog the moment it spills out of your mouth, it's like, wish we had thought of that.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right, there we go. Thank you, everyone. I can't tell you how thrilled I am, really, it astounding. Okay. We're at election of officers at this point, and we are going to have a chair and a vice chair. So I don't.
Dave, you're gonna be chair of pro tem.
You want to do pro tem?
What I think our bylaws say.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
You'll have to lead me through this. So, all right, so we're here to elect officers. I guess for the chair first, and I would entertain motions. Right, is that what I'm gonna do? Entertain motions for Kate?
And Barry Rector is the only person who submitted a letter of interest.
And they don't, and just so you know too, when you do elections, nothing requires a second. I've just seen that.
Okay.
Too many times.
Perfect.
I would recommend Barry Rick.
Okay, great.
Second.
That's so predictable.
Brooke, you were supposed to tell me when to do. I need to raise my voice.
Is there any other
No, I forgot.
nominations for chair? I don't know. Okay, so roll call vote for Barry as chair. Joe.
Aye.
Christina.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Nathaniel.
Aye.
Wendy Hudson.
Aye.
Mike Mizzarelli.
Aye.
Bert Johnson.
Aye.
Abby DiMolina.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, unanimous. Congrats.
Thank you.
Like to take over for the next one or?
Yeah, you're doing such a good job, and do you want me to?
No, it's fine.
No.
So, nominations for vice chair.
I forgot to put my letter in.
I'm gonna recommend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend this to Barry.
Okay, do we have anyone else that would like to nominate somebody? Okay, roll call vote.
Who are we voting on now? I couldn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
A Nat for vice chair.
That guy again?
Iron Grip Lowell. All right, so, this is a roll call vote for Nat to, stay in the vice chair position. Barry.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Christina.
Aye.
Brooke.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Wendy.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Bert.
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. You're doing a great job, Dave. You want to stay on?
No.
Thank
For this
Thank
next
you.
part, this is terrible.
Thank you for doing that. I
Of
appreciate it.
course. Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you. All right, so we're getting close to home stretch here. For annual appointments. There's the World Policy Advisory Committee, that's currently Wendy Hudson. I don't know if there's, Wendy, you're still interested in staying on, yes?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Thank you.
All right, is there any
I'll
other,
nominate Wendy?
you want to nominate Wendy? Is there any other candidates?
Yeah.
Hearing no other candidates at this point. Since this is Zoom, I have to do it this way. It's just such a lengthy process. Nat,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Brooke,
Aye.
Aye.
Joe, aye. Mike,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Abby.
Aye.
You know, Wendy, I can call on you. You can actually vote for yourself. There's nothing to prevent that from happening.
Aye.
There you go. That was the one that threw it over.
Beautiful, thanks, Wendy. On the capital program committee, that's currently me, and unfortunately, my time has gotten so heavy duty lately. I prefer if someone else might be interested in taking over that position. I don't know if anyone's interested. I hate to do it. It's a really good committee. If no one wants to do it, you may twist my arm off, but my time commitments have gotten really weird lately. And it is intense. It's gonna be, I will tell you, it's every week for at least 3 hours.
So
I don't know if anyone's interested.
I've been on this committee did it for a while. I can't remember, 5 years. It's a lot, but the good part about it is you learn everything about what you thought you knew. It's incredible.
Barry, did you say
I would-
3 hours a week?
It's a lot.
It's at least.
It's the FinCom in the
So-
fall.
Let me just tell you my own personal experience. The meetings themselves will run between 2 to 3 hours, depending upon the conversation, and then there's homework they're gonna have to do afterwards, which will be going through and looking at each one of the submissions that are out there. And I think last year there was almost 103 capital requests. And then you're gonna have to score each one of those according to its merits as well. So it's pretty intense.
So I'm gonna suggest, after some discussion this week and last week about this, today and last week, I'm gonna suggest, John Kishner to take this on this year. What do you think, John? We'll figure out the other problem later.
Actually, this is what I really like to do. It's
Wow, that's simple.
How many drinks in that refrigerator?
I need to learn to mind your words.
Don't get so excited. You'll be on everything.
Joanne, my partner and love of my life, accuses of me of being a spreadsheet junkie.
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. It's
However,
it's good.
Okay, so here's the serious part though, and I'm gonna look at.
No, seriously.
Yes, I would love to do this, but from a time point of view, I would have to ask the planning board chairman to release me from that crack.
And we'll look at that.
No, I can't.
I'll take it under advisement.
Well,
We have an agenda meeting
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, and I'll see to it that it gets on agenda.
okay.
For August.
If I say, because Joanne is listening in, so if I say yes to this,
It's just
Today.
hard to find someone for crack is the problem.
I feel like I'm already on it with the other things I'm on now.
Well, so
It's
you're.
all- I thought about it today. Once I talked to John, talked to Brooke a little bit, trying to figure this out. I can't get back on capital. I can't do it,
But you could get.
but maybe. We'll see. We'll talk about that. But we have to have the right person for this capital program committee. Has to have someone that's
John, we'll
serious.
figure it out.
It can't be just a
Yes.
show
I don't know
up.
whether I am the right person, Mr. Chair, but I.
I
see the
think
stuff and
you
love
are
it.
the right person for this.
I nominate.
Oh, I was gonna,
Go
I
ahead.
was racing you to the.
Throw the bus at him.
Yeah, I recommend and nominate John.
So.
I know we don't need a second, but I'll second.
No, you don't need to say.
Oh, we don't have to do that? Okay.
Just one thing, Brooke, I think I stated the facts pretty well about that. Yeah, I don't want to feel like I misrepresented anything in that.
It's intense. And there's a learning, you're gonna want to be on it more than 1 year. I was only on it 1 year just because of the way it turned out, becoming chair of the select board. I just couldn't do it either. But it is so interesting.
Yeah.
You will know the inside and out of every department in the town of Nantucket
So
after
true.
your first year. It's. And then the rating system is getting easier, better and easier.
Yeah.
In
And
this next iteration. So.
John, if you're gonna take it on board too, you have my commitment that I will help you with whatever.
And mine too,
Yeah.
I can help.
Listen to the.
We're there to, yeah. Not just
Thank
gonna
you,
create, not gonna throw each of the walls.
Good.
Thank you.
you.
All right.
And you can
so-
start in the morning with making sure that the second shoe falls.
What, with that?
Yes, with the crack thing.
So strange. Okay, so let's just do that. Nat,
Aye.
I,
Christina, thank you.
Aye.
Brooke,
Enthusiastic.
aye. Michael,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Abby,
I,
Wendy,
Aye.
and I vote aye too. Thank you, John, so much.
Thank you, John.
All right, Affordable Housing Trust Fund, Mr. Anderson, do you so wish to be on?
Yes.
Do not. Unfortunately, I've been on the Affordable Housing Trust for 5 years and I'm passionate about it and I care about it. But I just don't have, I'm so hemmed up with time. So, I would like to nominate Abby DiMolina for the Affordable Housing Trust. I think she would be great.
Understandably.
Smiling, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Feeling Abby?
The camera's still on, so that's good.
You all right with that, Abby?
I'm here. I am willing to be on the Affordable Housing Trust. We've talked about it. Brooke and I have talked about affordable housing stuff too. And people who know me, I have some background with a lot of also state experience with affordable housing. So definitely would like to be involved locally. So happy to be on it.
Yes, great.
Awesome. She's gonna be great.
Anyone else interested? All right, if not, then.
So that's a nomination, so it's just a vote then.
So Nat,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Christina.
I.
Aye.
Jeff, aye. Wendy,
Nantucket Regional Committee.
Aye.
Mike, Bert, Abby, you can vote for yourself and the chair votes aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Contract Review Committee, Human Services. Bert, you still interested?
No, I can't do it again this year.
Oh.
Problem is, I go down to Florida and the meetings are all up here.
Got it.
No Zoom?
What?
No Zoom?
The microphone.
No Zoom for them?
They do, but it's more work than I have time for now.
Got it.
It used to
Anyone
be
interested?
1 month.
That's okay. Anyone interested? All right, let's do this. Because sometimes people aren't familiar with when someone's going to leave and what it involves taking on that new board. For instance, I'm interested, but I need to understand what the time commitments are to it because, as I said earlier, Mike's got to really take it.
Oh, Barry,
Yeah,
what it generally, when I first started, the month of December. We met in December. We usually had all of the stuff done by the 1st of January.
yeah,
Solid decisions.
I'm not ready to make a snap decision personally, but is anyone else interested?
Barry, I'll just say that the whole Human Services Department and the process is under review with a consultant right now, so it may change. So I would say, I mean, it'll probably be the same this year, actually, but maybe in the future it may change. So I've been on it too, so we can talk.
All right, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. So let's just hold that appointment for 1 month.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Joe's e-bike committee.
I would like to be on my e-bike committee.
I nominate Joe for B-back.
I'll do that. If you want to do two for, I'll take on the Nantucket area work group. I'll stick with them as well.
Yeah.
32.
Unless anyone else is interested in that as well. Let me I'm just gonna check. So for the Nantucket area work group and for the bike and pedestrian advisory committee, it's gonna be Mr. Topham again. Thank you. Nat,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Christina,
I.
Brooke,
Aye.
Dave, Mike,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
shares of the affirmative as well. Do you want to vote for yourself on both?
I'll abstain.
Ah. Okay. So that brings us to the Harbor Plan Update Committee. That was Seth, so that is now a vacant position.
Mike, you want that?
I'm gonna do Barry's plan and talk to Seth about it. So the Concom's in a intense phase with SBPF. That's got us meeting every week and the regulation change. So I just want to understand what the time commitment is.
But we can postpone this then.
Yeah,
Perfect.
there are certain, I know the only one that was the chomping at the bit was the capital program.
Yeah, no, they needed somebody.
Yeah,
That's true.
So we're gonna pen that one at this point. That means, unless someone else is interested, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So that brings us to the town area plan work group, and that was Mary Longacre. Anyone have any interest?
Mary Longacre. Oh my God. Where are we at with this, with them right now? Joe, do you know where we are?
I think good progress, the meeting, so I would say.
I think they're getting close.
75% done. I think.
Megan just got an update from that group
Yes.
last week.
Yeah, the established students sent the draft, I think, there have been some delays, but it seems like they've made some significant progress in the past several months, so. I think they're reaching the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would there be any harm in pending that for 1 month?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because I
think we should do that too, because
well,
if I took that on, okay, which I'm not against because I've done that a lot, and we started it. When we started the town area plan, that was a pretty significant discussion. I'd like to know where they're at, especially that whole cliff area that was in question. I don't even know how far they've gotten all this stuff. I could talk to Mary about it. But if we can put this off for a month, that'd be good.
So here's what I'm going to, so 3 that we're going to end at this point is Contract Review Committee for Human Services, Plan Update Committee, and the Town Area Plan Work Group. If you're not sure what you're getting yourself into, I'd probably say go, and there's plenty of seasoned people out there that are worth talking to about this. You'll have a month's worth of time to make consideration. I know we're all busy people. So let's just kind of see where that goes, and we'll just have to ask for forgiveness if they need someone sooner at that point. On the town area plan work group too, I'd also like to have a brief discussion with staff on that as well. Just to kind of see where it's at. Okay. Closing things up, committee reports. They're there. Is there anyone who wants to comment on any of the committees that they're on? If not,
I'll be back.
Please go right ahead.
So what we're gonna talk about, what we're talking about is maybe coming forward with an article next year on speed limits on the bike paths. So, yeah, which there's not anywhere, there's no law or anything in the state, so we're wondering maybe like 15 to 20 miles an hour. And then some bylaw come up on someone, ski etiquette, slow down, not passing them more than like 5 miles an hour or something. We're trying to work on that. We also are talking about going into the schools and having etiquette, all that stuff, kind of start in the school system. And then, because the vast majority of the kids are riding e-bikes. And so I get it, it's like, they're flying and they're surfing along. So they're kind of working on that. And then while that goes on, have the bike shops be there and the sheriff and do helmet fittings and etc. And get full helmets so the kids start wearing, because anyone at 16 is supposed to be wearing a helmet. So yeah, there's some other laws and stuff like that. So we just want to kind of readdress that. So we really want to really move forward. We've had 2 of our commissioners hit by cars so recently. So this is where we're trying to get something moving. So I would like to move forward, not this town meeting, but next, the annual town meeting, something about speed limits and etiquette, stuff like that, just to kind of bring awareness to the public. And I think it really helps to get it within the article that is shipped out there, because a lot of people read that, and I think they're extremely important for that. So that was something we're working on. So thank you.
So as a select board member, I was informed of a situation where someone was pulling out of their driveway and a bike into the side of the car.
Yeah.
Mannequin. And I think there also there's a need for education, the bylaw is that cars do not have a way when they're crossing bike paths, and I think that there's a lot of offense taken. I'm a biker too, and for the most part, cars are great. But, you know, people's view sheds on their private property that's out of the road, the limit of what the DPW can cut back. There could be some education around voluntary improvement for their own.
I brought that up in
Experience.
2003.
Pulling out of
Just so you know.
And then you can see.
I do that.
You know, you can see.
I mean, I'm not permission.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
They're not even way off topic, but something was like maybe they probably have a rumble strip or something. And I get it, because I mean, riding on the bike path and stuff like that, coming back and forth, and just people pull out and, you know, open coffee cup in their hand, wet hair, which I'm jealous of, but they're like trying to like go to work.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think it's important.
It's-
And then I think even the class 3 e-bikes, they're no different than a moped, should be wearing helmets. So that's something I also want to bring, which I think then you do is.
You know, we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, so see how the feedback meeting.
I know it's true. I mean, what Brooke said, voluntary property owners cutting back brush for sight lines. We had this idea of adopt a bike path walk plan a long time ago, Jeff Willett. That's kind of a similar idea. People do think bikes should just slam on their brakes and stop for a car. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But people believe that, like, that's crazy.
This is, it's great.
Yeah.
Need to
Yield,
realize
but
that
not
that
have to actually
every
stop.
driveway is a danger to them, and
Yeah.
they need to keep an eye out.
They all need, it needs to be both, but not like the car has a right of way in front of the
No,
bicycle.
that's not what I'm
crazy.
saying, but
So it's a good conversation though, and I talked to Mike about some of this stuff and Drew, and this is good. So,
And if you could do something about the helmets, you will be my biggest fan.
It doesn't make sense.
it's a dirt
Well,
bike that you
well,
can't hear.
there's-
That's what's happening.
There's far too many
Noiseless
individuals,
dirt bike.
there's far too many individuals where I see families where even the adults aren't wearing helmets, and that scares the Jesus out of me.
It's a lot different than those
Yeah,
banana
I-
seats.
Topic?
That is a major problem, because if something does happen, God knows what the kids are gonna do on their own.
Yeah.
The second thing is that, you know, again, having been at the hospital for years, the number of cases of, I'm sorry, I can't think of a better term to use, but squash off. There are people, you know, again, the survivability of coming out of a major collision like that in a bicycle.
Someone said the Mass General won't share that information with us. Feedback forward, so we're gonna go to the fire department.
Yeah, I think the fire department may have some better answers for you, but it's just, I get it. I get it. People like to be unencumbered and free with things, but I think there's equal responsibility that has to exist on both sides. With that, and so like I said, if there's anything you could do to champion that as well too, I would be forever grateful. Any other committee reports? All right, not hearing anyone else at this point. Unless you want to hang around for a while longer.
Make that motion.
To adjourn. And do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Nat?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Brooke?
Aye.
Thank you. Abby?
Aye.
Yeah, I think I'll take that as a no. Yes, Bert? You want to stay here, Bert, for a while longer?
It's muted.
I know you're
I was muted there. Aye.
Well.
Aye, Mike?
But that's.
Aye.
Wendy?
One outside.
Aye.
I support one outside.
Everyone, I know it's summer. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your participation and working with you everything today. You've been great. Be very proud of yourself.
So, Joe.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Barry. Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone. Thank you, Mike.